Welcome in new Architron 2022 video for Cinema 4D. My name is Viktor Veličko and in this video I'll show you what is new with this plugin. In first chapter I will show you new edit Nurbs tools for editing Nurbs curves. We have now completed selection clipboard edit pipeline together with primitives and real-time booleans. We have completed toolset for Nurbs curves. 5 new tools are included: divide, minimize, refine, offset and fillet. So now we have complete set of tools for curves. It is a very minimized toolset but very comprehensive. It works with different selection types, points, edges, elements, and it works in real time with real-time preview, of course. So you will see in this video how this completed toolset works and how it is comprehensive. Next chapter is about mouse selection. Now we have point selection, rectangle selection, and lasso selection in every Edit Nurbs tool. And you can fully customize it for left mouse button or right mouse button. Next chapter, Nurbs objects analyze. There are new options for displaying or showing isometric points, knots, inflex points, and floor plans and defections on the Nurbs objects. Very useful. And next chapter will be about one example when we import a floor plan, DVG floor plan, and then with all these new tools we will clean it, fix it, edit and convert into polygons and walls. And finally, in the last chapter, Architron Next, I will show you what will come after this. Now we have completed Nurbs curves, all basic essential tools. Final chapter, Architron Next, I'll show you what you can expect after this. Edit Nurbs tool. Edit Nurbs tool since last version was very much optimized and completed. It has, as previous version, 3 layers. First selection layer, clipboard layer, and now edit layer, which is the starting hub for 7 basic edit tools. So with selection you can select parts of the selected Nurb object. With clipboard you can copy paste, delete these selections, and with edit tools you can execute particular edit tools to this actual selection. Edit tools can be executed with these buttons from numeric panel or attribute panel. Here with these icons from the menu, or by using shortcut keys within Edit Nurbs tool, because once you drop Edit Nurbs tool, those shortcuts doesn't work. Only you need to have activated Edit Nurbs tool to work with these shortcuts, but these are the fastest way because you can just select, let's say, these 2 edges and use shortcut to divide. Then you can use shortcut to offset, and very quickly you can switch between these edit tools. Also very useful is then when you use any curve primitive, let's say this rectangle, and you drop it with right mouse button and again drop it, then you are automatically switched into Edit Nurbs tool, and now again you can use these shortcut keys. So this way, let's say divide, this way you have very quick pipeline using shortcut keys and dropping tool with right mouse button. You need to play with it a little bit, but in the final you will understand how quick and optimized this toolset is. You can very quickly switch between primitives, edit, selection, and particular edit tools with shortcut keys. Because we have only few edit tools, you can learn these shortcut keys and use this modeling pipeline very efficiently and very quickly. Now let me show you all these new edit tools. First, divide tool. With divide tool, you can very simply divide selected geometry. So if you select edges, these line segments, then each this line segment is divided. Divide tool has two basic modes, count and distance. In count mode, you set exact number or exact amount of divisions. So let's say 6 divisions. Each line is divided to 6 equal pieces. If you switch to distance mode, then you can set a final wanted distance or length of divided part. So each selected line is divided by a recalculated amount of divisions to fit final distance, approximate distance. Divide tool works with point, edge, and element selection mode. In point selection, you are dividing space between selected points. In edge mode, only selected edges are divided, and in element mode, you are dividing every selected element. Next edit tool is refine tool. A refine tool is for automatic insertion of knots into curves. In simple words, it is making curve control points more dense, and it is adding more control points on the part where curve is more curvy. So, in simple words, you are controlling a level of detail of curve. So, with a single parameter here, max angle parameter, if you set this parameter to lower value, lower angle means there are more control points, more knots are inserted. If you raise this value, it will add less knots will be inserted. So, this refine is something like divide, but it works on curves, and you Now I drop this, and you can see there are way much more control points, so this curve is now refined. So these two tools, divide and refine, are both for leveling up the mesh or geometry density. I will add some more control points here on this linear before we continue with next minimize tool. The minimize tool is actually the opposite what we was doing with divide and refine. Minimize is removing all possible points, redundant points, and all redundant knots which was inserted into curved parts of the geometry. So now if I select everything and apply minimize tool on all these selected edges, you can see all these inserted knots are now highlighted as red, so it means these will be removed, and also these additional divided points are red. So if I apply it, you can see in point mode the geometry is reverted back into state before we divided and refined the selection. Next new tool is the offset tool. Offset tool is extremely useful tool for offsetting geometry. In edges mode or element mode, it is offsetting the curve, selected curve or line or polyline, as you can see. And when you switch to point mode, then it is not offsetting curve or line, but it is offsetting the point along the line. So if I select, let's say, these 2 points are now offsetted along the curve, one way or second way or double side, both sides. So if I drop it, now you can see this is different kind of offset, point offset along the curve. So if I use this on edge, then we are offsetting the sides of the line or curve. If you use it in point mode, then you are offsetting along the curve. So that's the difference. It's very flexible. This offset tool will work also differently on surfaces and polygons. In fact, offset used on polygon surface is actually extrude. So this is really concentrated power of this single offset tool. Just depends on which selection mode you will use. Now let's take a closer look into attribute panel of the offset tool. We have here some more options which makes this tool very flexible. So as I showed you before, you can switch between single and double side mode. You can remove original base curve or selected curve or keep it. When it is red, now it is removed. When it is not red, it will remain there. So with this, you can also extend ends like this. Also flip side with this quick button, so you don't have to set it to the value, just use a quick fix. And of course you can set offset object axis. If you need to offset, for example, up down, I will go to the perspective so you can see. If I flip this offset axis of the object, which defines the plane for offsetting, so we can see now you can offset up down or along Z. Along Z is bullshit because it's wrong direction. So y-axis or x-axis, up down. So as you can see, a lot of options, a lot of possibilities, concentrated power of a single tool to do a lot of different stuff, offsetting stuff. And finally we have a fillet tool which creates a round on selected corners. You can select corners with different selection types. With point mode you directly select the corner point, and this point is rounded, or you can select the edges and only corner points of these edges are rounded, or you can select the whole elements and every corner of these selected elements will be rounded. For the round you can use three types of rounding. Fillet is a corner is created by arc or blended by arc, rounded by arc. In chamfer mode it is cut by line, and in blend mode the curve with blend parameter is placed into the corner. So you can set the blending percentage, and of course you can adjust the radius or distance. If chamfer is selected, this is chamfer distance, this distance. So as you can see, very flexible and very comprehensive tool for rounding corners. So these 7 tools together are forming package of essential tools for editing Nurbs curves. And same way as you have seen, it works on curves, it will work on polygons, and it will work on Nurbs surfaces, and it will be even more compact and complex. So there will be no redundancy. So very few tools, a lot of operations, very easy to use. Edit Nurbs mouse selection. In this chapter I'll show you 3 new methods of selecting with mouse. This addition was included in last minute. Actually, when recording Floorplan Example, I realized this has to be included into this version, so it caused 2 months delay, but I'm very happy this happened. Because now you have very efficient selection pipeline or selection part of the modeling pipeline, and you can customize it in a selection panel. Here you have for left mouse button, right mouse button, 3 methods viable. By default, left mouse button is point selection. By default, right mouse button is lasso selection. This is a light wave modeler style selection. And if you prefer the cinema selection style, you can use shortcut keys. These shortcut keys are used for left mouse button, so you can switch between point, rectangle and lasso selection with identical key shots as used in a cinema. So neither you're a cinema user or light wave user, you can find your way, your efficient way of changing selection methods. Now let's try to test these selection methods a little bit. So I prefer light wave style, so on left mouse button point selection, on right mouse button I have lasso selection, and sometimes if I need to switch to rectangle selection I use shortcut key and go back to point selection. So selection works same way as in cinema, so with shift key you are expanding selection, with control key you are decreasing from existing selection. So with point selection, now we are selecting edges. You can point to a particular edge and add into selection or subtract from selection. That's same way as it worked version before. And now I need to select, let's say, these 2 circles, so I use the lasso selection with right mouse button. Very convenient, very fast way. Now I'll switch to point selection. You can see different geometric type of selection, and for example I need to use a rectangle selection, so I use shortcut key 0 and I will add, let's say, these rectangles. Now you can continue with lasso selection, right mouse button, and I need to go back to point selection, so I use shortcut key 9 and I continue with point selection of these points. So you have a lot of possibilities how to do selection, and you just need to use your way to be efficient and fast. Nurbs Object Analyze. In Nurbs Object Analyze tab, we have several new options, additional options to display some features or extra data on Nurbs geometry. The Show Geometry ID option was also in previous version. Displays the ID of points if selection is the point selection. In edge selection, it display the IDs of edges or curve segments, and in element mode it display ID of the element or curve. Next options are new. The Show Isometric Points option will display isopoints or isometric points. Isopoints are in fact projections of control points into curve. So the number of isopoints is identical with the number of control points, and you can see that each isopoint is in fact the projection of the control point. So if I create some bigger Nurbs curve, you can see that each this control point has a counterpart isopoint. This is sometimes helpful to be able to display isopoints. Additional 2 options are for displaying knots and knot values. Knots are essential properties of Nurbs. If you don't know what knots are, you don't worry about it. sometimes you need to display them, especially for Nurbs surfacing tools. They are critical. Knot values are about parameterization of curve. As you can see, the value of the knot is going up as it is going along the curve. For example, if we use the refine tool, we'll refine this curve. You can see that displaying all knot values is sometimes useful, so we can display the old values, and tool is displaying new green values, knot values. So for example, for this tool, very useful option to display the knot values. And the last option from this group is the show inflex points. It is also related to Nurbs curve segments only. It is displaying point of the change when the curvature is flipping to other side. So it divides the curve segments to convex pieces. Also, sometimes is helpful. So these inflex points are using heavily in internal calculations of some of the edit tools. And finally, two most important analyze options are open curve ends and loop disconnections. Open loop ends will display you or show you which curve open end is open. So actually, even if these curves are touching, so if I add here additional line, it's still open. It still shows you these open ends as open ends. But if I enable loop disconnections, then every curve open end which is touching something else disappears, because it is no longer loop disconnection. So each open curve end is also loop disconnection, but as soon as it touches some other point of the geometry, it is no longer loop disconnection. It is still curve open ends, but not loop disconnection. So these two additional analyze options helps you to find where the loops are disconnected. So if I quickly now add this line and destroy or remove these loop disconnections, then I will change these floor plans, let's say it's floor plan or shape of the curves, into loops without disconnections, and now you can safely convert it into polygons. So if I use now object mode and go into perspective and enable flat surfaces, then this is safely converted into polygons. As soon as there is some loop disconnection, you have a problem, and conversion into flat surfaces is not correct. So these additional two analyze options are very critical, especially when you need to convert big floor plans, chunk of curves, overlapping, a lot of errors there, and you need to find where are disconnections and where are actual problems for conversion. So with these analyze options, very quick job, as I will show you in the next chapter, big example on imported floor plans. Floor plan example. In this chapter, I will show you how to use all these new features and new tools of Architron plugin on real example. So first step will be to import some floor plan. I will use the Cinema import, and I will import this example I found on the internet. This some kind of electrical plan for a house. So after importing this floor plan with Cinema, we can see that there are a lot of stuff here, and here is not quite complex floor plan of walls with some other stuff. In second step, we will convert all splines from this important DVG floor plan into Nurbs. So first we need to select all these objects and apply spline to Nurbs tool to this. After this is done, command will convert each spline into Nurbs curve. In the third step, I will use Edit Nurbs tool now. Going to Object Mode and select all objects here. So now we have selected all objects with Edit Nurbs tool, and by using the Join tool in Object Mode, we will join all the Nurbs object into single object. It will automatically separate this as a separate Nurbs object with all the geometry, converted Nurbs geometry. Now apply join, and we have everything separated here in new Nurbs object. As a next step, we will remove everything we don't want here. So first select and delete originally imported object. Then we have just this Nurbs floor plan, and now with Edit the Nurbs selection mode, switching to element or polygon mode, and with point selection and lasso selection, we will very quickly remove everything we don't want here in this Nurbs floor plan. Selection methods can be customized in selection panel, as it was explained in previous chapter. I prefer left, right mouse button, point, lasso selection. For me, this is the most efficient way. As you can see, I can pretty quickly select different kinds of groups of curves and remove all the appliances, all the cables, all the redundant helper lines from this floor plan. So we will keep only walls and windows. So rest of the selection will be pretty similar, so I will speed up the rest of this part. Now the floor plan is much more cleaner, but still with some errors, and we can continue with several methods from this point. For example, we can convert it into cinema splines, back to cinema splines, or we can use the wall tool from Architron plugin and recreate 3D walls with help of snapping. But in this example, I will continue and clean this floor plan into perfection, into absolute errorless floor plan, and then we will convert it into polygonal floor plan. And as the next step, we will clean all visible errors. I will use a line tool with perpendicular snap to draw missing lines in this floor plan. So everything you see is missing. So for example, all these disconnected walls or missing lines as part of the walls, also here. Just fix all visible problems you see in floor plan. Also, I will remove something which we forgot. In removal phase, here one more circle, and now we are done with removing visual errors. Now a floor plan looks perfect, but it is not. As a next step, we need to check the possible errors. So in Object Analyze tab, when Show Loop Disconnection option is enabled, that will reveal all possible problems. So all loop disconnections are marked as red and needs to be eliminated. For elimination of this disconnection, best automated way is to use a join tool. Join tool will merge points, merge segments, intersect curves. So with this tool, with one usage, you can apply and you can see the most of the red problems are eliminated. Now the remaining problems we need to inspect and fix manually. Now let's fix this problem. So here, first problem is some small disconnected line which causing this connection. Here again, same, select and remove additional line. Here, forgotten this connection. For this I will use a line tool to close these disconnections. Here, this connection, for this the better use is to use drag tool with point mode and drag this end to the corner. Here we have additional disconnections, and in edge mode I will select each this additional line segment and remove. Here again with drag tool in point mode I will just move it here on the corner. And these remaining I will do another way. I will remove this and recreate with a line tool. So you have plenty of possibilities how to fix these errors. It's depend on which practice is best for you, because this toolset is very robust. There's a lot of possible ways how you can deal with this geometry. So now we have a perfectly clean floor plan. According to Analyze, there are no loop disconnections. Now we have clean Nurbs floor plan. So I will go to perspective viewport, and here in Nurbs objects panel we can use this output geometry option, switch from spline into flat surfaces. It will still keep Nurbs splines, but it will show you flat surfaces. So enable it, and now we need to check the object port axis plane, which is in this case Z. So back to object panel, and here we need to set this floor plan axis, object axis, as a Z. So now result is perfect, and if you convert this into polygons, cinema polygons, now you have perfect clean polygonal floor plan. No, absolutely no errors here. Every polygon is perfect. So as you can see, this pipeline, complete pipeline from imported CAD files into clean polygonal floor plan is very straightforward. There is no similar toolset inside Cinema. So if you are working with floor plans or drawings in Cinema, this is must-have tool for you right now. Architron Next. You can expect a next version of this plugin this year, probably early winter, and it will be versioned as 2022.5, and you can expect the complete pipeline, which now works with Nurbs curves, also to work with Cinema polygonal objects. So same it will be compact system for Nurbs polygons, and same way you select using clipboard, edit using edit tools, join, export, divide, minimize, refine, offset, fillet. All this will work identically on Nurbs curves and polygonal objects. And polygonal object remains even after editing as a clean topology and valid UV mapping. Once you put UV map, you will not distract it with the minimizing or refining or doing any edit operation with this toolset. So this will be compacted package, a very completed package, and additionally Nurbs shape system will be added, and based on this Nurbs shape library there will be additional tools for extruding and profiling, for creating molding, facade details, pipes, profiles, cables. Lightwave user know knows what I'm talking about, and rest of you will see this is mass destruction weapon for creating data. So it's nothing better out there in market like these tools. So you can looking forward for these tools, especially if you are in our office and doing a lot of details. I will welcome any user requests. Don't be shy, let us know what you think. If you have any problems or if you have any requests, please use support and let us know back. Thank you for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to introduce you next version soon.